You're not weird. You're ancient. While the world chases a window light, you look deep into the roots. You are not strange. You are not slow. You are ancient, a way of being that lived in you before the patterns began, before normalcy, before man was told what he should be. You walk in silence when others are making noise. You listen to pauses when others speak. You don't feel the face, you feel the essence. You don't have the superfluous, but you have precision. You don't have loud, but you have real. And you've never been part of a crowd. Not because you lack courage, but because crowds are too narrow for your way of feeling. As a kid, you felt you're different. You felt the pain of being loud, the pain of pretending, the pain of being fake. When others acted right, you felt something was wrong. Not because you're a rebel. It's because you see the cracks that others paint over with the paint of rules. You don't know how to be superficial. You can't live in roles. You don't know how to lie politely. And that's why the world has often stigmatized you. Introvert, closed off, difficult. But that's not the point. You just didn't turn off the depth when others chose convenience. And when you heard there's something wrong with you, you tried to fix yourself. You tried to get louder, livelier, faster. But every time there was a betrayal, you weren't betraying the mask. You were betraying your ancient attunement. You're not weird. You're ancient. You're someone who senses reality not through flashes, but through silence. You don't collect likes, you collect meanings. You don't crumble into chaos. You grow in the shadows. You're not afraid to be yourself. You just took a long time to learn how to be that in a world where everyone is screaming. You're not lost in the world. You're awake in a world that's still asleep. Inside of you is a library, not a supermarket. The world lives in scrolling mode. Faster, brighter, bigger. Visual noise, wrappers, packages. The world of extroversion demands reaction. It loves instant evaluation, a loud response, a quick purchase. But you're different. You're not choosing a product. You're seeking knowledge. Inside of you is not a supermarket. Inside of you is a library. Every image has multiple floors. Every word has a cellar of meaning. You don't read headlines. You open old books. You feel between the lines. And that's why you're considered slow. You're not slow. You're deep. While others greedily swallow the surfaces, you chew through the layers. You're not afraid of the pause, because in it, understanding is born. You don't fear solitude because it gives you the power to collect yourself. Being an intuitive introvert isn't just a character trait. It's a way of being. It's the ability to not only see, but to discern, to sense that behind a word is a lie, that behind a smile is anxiety, that behind normalcy is a betrayal of your essence. You don't run after everything. You choose what resonates deeply. You don't seek the new. You unpack the eternal. And let everything around you speed up. You keep your speed, the one in which the truth appears. You are not late. You are maturing in the rhythm of the eternal, not the urgent. You woke up in a world where everything seems too bright, too fast, too right. It's like someone has turned the spotlight on full blast, and you're a creature of twilight, not night, not gloom, but that deep golden silence in which roots sprout. You're not following the road. You're following the trail, not by noise, by tone. You're not looking for attention. You're looking for meaning. And if you don't speak for a long time, it's not because you have nothing to say. It's because it's important for you to hear where that voice comes from pain, from truth, or from someone else's echo. You're not weird. You are not broken. You are ancient. There's a tuning that resounds in you that predates the noise. Before the ads, before the likes, before the masks, you are someone who hasn't forgotten what realness smells like, what a pause sounds like, how deep a word can be if you take your time. In a world where people have learned phrases, you can still hear the silence between them. In a world where everyone is trying to be someone, you learn to be yourself. You walk in silence when others make noise. You listen to pauses when others speak. You don't feel the face. You feel the essence. You don't have a superfluous, but you have precision. You don't have loud, but you have real. And you've never been part of a crowd. Not because you lack courage. It's because crowds are too narrow for your way of feeling. You're not just quiet. You're transparent. When others look, you see. When others evaluate, you recognize. You feel the air change around a person. You notice not the face, but the tension beneath it. You catch the tremors of a lie disguised as politeness. And that's why it's uneasy around you. Because you can't hide in front of you. Not because you judge. It's because you're present. Your presence is like a clear mirror. Not flat, not cold, but alive. It doesn't reflect what's outside. It gives back to a man what he has long forgotten in himself. You don't mean masks. You're not about roles. You're not about how it should be. You're about the silence where you can hear who you really are. You don't push. You don't explain. You don't impose. You just are. But your just being is stronger than 1,000 words. People feel it. Some respect it. Some run. Because there's no hiding in you. You don't think in words. You read space. You see the cracks in other people's phrases. Hear the unspoken. Discern what others dare not name. You are not against the world. But you're not dissolved in it either. You stand deeper. You don't react. You bear witness. You see how people play into other people's lives. How they confuse the mask with the face. How they run away from themselves and call it success. And you don't despise them. You just know what it's like to stay out of other people's boxes. You know what it's like to feel weird in a world that has long since forgotten itself. But you didn't harden yourself. You didn't yell. You didn't persuade. You just went deeper into yourself. And that became your strength. Your silence is not silence. It is a voice that speaks beyond words. It's a warm light in a space where everyone is used to neon. It's a truth that doesn't need to be proven. You are not a hermit. You are a lighthouse. Jung called it a return to the self. Not an escape from the world, but return to the center, back to the self. Not the self you were raised to be, but the self that came before all the roles. You're not just an introvert. You are a witness. You are the one who sees. And because of that, you become a reminder. A reminder that silence can be real presence, and depth can be true freedom. You are not silent. You give voice to the essence with your being. You're a Jungian intuitive introvert. You are not an accident. You are an attunement that the world lost long ago. You were born with an inner compass that doesn't point north. It points to truth. Your attention is not just a focus. It is an antenna tuned to subtle signals, to depths that the eye cannot see, to truth that cannot be heard in the noise. You sense not by facts, but by fields. You don't evaluate. You recognize. You don't analyze. You grasp. Your perception is like the breath of the forest. It doesn't need proof. It just knows. The world says intuition is guesswork. And you know it is an ancient memory. It's the language the universe speaks to you. It's the voice inside that sounded even before the words. You're not studying the world. You're remembering it. You're not an introvert in the sense of being closed. You are an inner wanderer. You don't travel across countries. You travel across levels of reality. And in each person you see a map of pain, a map of hopes, a map of the hidden soul. You don't read them. You live it with them just by being around them. An intuitive introvert is not a diagnosis. It's a gift that's been forgotten. It's a profound ability to be in the world without losing yourself, to see the essence without interfering, to experience truth without proving it. It is rare, but not a weakness. It's a quiet strength that changes without violence. You are not on the outside of the world. You are its inner witness. You are not late. You walk on your axis. You are not irrelevant. You just don't hide your light in a package. And that's why the world first scares you and then reaches out. Jung called it a return to the center, to the authentic, back to who you were before the roles. And it's people like you who carry the future without shouting about it, because in you lives a memory of who we are beyond the masks. You are more than just a personality type. You are a memory of wholeness. You are Jung's intuitive introvert, to remind this world what it's like to truly be you. Two elements live in you at the same time, light and shadow, not as enemies, but as two sides of the same mirror. The shadow is not the darkness in which you are lost. It is not a punishment or weakness. It is a part of you that the world did not want to see. But it is in the shadow that your most powerful resources are hidden. Light is the face you show the world. It shines, attracts, and inspires trust. But light without shadow is an empty image. It is a mask that does not hold without depth. You do not have this emptiness in you. The shadow in your soul is like the ground under your feet. It gives you strength to stand, to grow, to withstand storms. You know how to walk on this thin edge, without fear of darkness, without hiding in the light. This is a gift, to be both depth and clarity, to be silence and thunder. To feel that your every step is not just a movement, but a choice between deception and truth. You don't let the light overshadow the shadow, and you don't let the shadow swallow the light. You are a balance. You are a dance of two principles that create forward movement in you. When others look only for answers in the light, you see that without the shadow, the answers are empty. This is not easy. It often means going alone, because there are few people who are willing to look into their own shadow. But this is what makes you strong. Not by warning, but by accepting. Not by warning, but by accepting. You are not just an introvert, not just intuitive. You are a living example of how light and shadow can exist in harmony. And in this harmony, true power is born. Loneliness is not emptiness, but fullness. Not an escape from the world, but an encounter with oneself. For the intuitive introvert, solitude is not a punishment, but a home. A place where masks fall away and the true self is revealed. In the silence of solitude, voices are heard, muffled in the hustle and bustle. They are not only thoughts, but feelings, fears, desires, those hidden behind routines and rules. You don't run away from the pain. You step into it to see its origins. Where others see emptiness, you find the source. Not external, but internal. A source of strength that doesn't depend on approval, bright lights, or noisy company. It is as quiet as a deep breath, but as powerful as the roots of an ancient tree. In solitude, you witness your own transformation. You watch as old fears turn into lessons, as pain becomes a teacher and darkness becomes a guiding star. And you are not alone in this journey. Even if you are physically alone, loneliness isn't about isolation. It's about depth. It's about the ability to meet yourself without embellishments and lies. It's a journey of inner maturation, where you learn to be the master of your shadow and light. In a world where noise is a norm, solitude is a rare gift, but it is where true inner strength is born, the kind that does not depend on external circumstances and does not hide behind social masks. Loneliness is not an exile, but a return home. It is in this return that a strength is born that is not afraid of any storms. Control is like a mirror into which we look to make sure that everything is subject to our will. The intuitive introvert knows that control is not a force, but a mask of fear, an attempt to hold the world by the edges when chaos reigns within. We used to think that by controlling everything around us, we preserve ourselves. But in reality, we only attach ourselves to illusions. The puppeteers holding the strings forget that the strings can break, and then the illusion falls, exposing what is hidden within. Freedom doesn't come with controlling others. It begins with letting go of controlling ourselves. Letting go of rigid schemes, rules, expectations is what reveals inner strength. And in that relinquishment is both fear and liberation. The intuitive introvert sees many clinging to other people's standards, trying to be somebody so they don't lose control of their own fear. But underneath this layer is a lit fire that can only be blown out by denying the truth about oneself. The path of awakening is the path of letting go of old roles, letting go of control, letting go of the illusion that you can predict and control everything. Where control falls, the space for inner strength and true presence grows. Control is not power, but a trap for which only those who are willing to face their own shadow can escape. Who is willing to let go of illusions in order to be free. Free from expectations, from fears, from pain, from the gaze of others. It is in this letting go that a deep trust in life is born, not as a dangerous enemy, but as a living stream in which you are not a prisoner, but creator. Letting go of control means opening the door to the power that lives not in control, but in accepting yourself and the world as it is. Archetypes and intuition. Inner bridges to the self. Archetypes are not fairy tales or myths, but living energies that sleep deep within each of us. An intuitive introvert can hear them without words, without logic. Just feel the rhythms of ancient images awakening inside. This is not the voice of reason, but the voice of the soul, that language that speaks in images and symbols that cannot be measured or explained, but that lead the way to awakening. The archetype is like a bridge between your inner world and external reality. It helps you understand why some situations cling to your heart more strongly, why some people are trustworthy and others irritating, why you feel different in a crowd. Within archetypes lives a contradiction, light and shadow, strength and vulnerability. The intuitive introvert is not afraid of these shadows. He meets them face to face. It is not a struggle, but a dance of acceptance and transformation. Where others seek validation on the outside, he finds answers on the inside, in the whispers of old images and the depth of his feelings. Archetypes reveal the truth of who you really are, not a mask, not a role, but being capable of living in harmony with yourself and the world. This understanding gives you power, not the power that is demonstrated loudly and outwardly, but a quiet, deep inner power, a power that can change the space around you without effort or struggle. Archetypes and intuition are the language of your soul that leads you to the true freedom and power that is inaccessible to those who live only on the surface.